और मेरे भाई, क्या हाल चाल, कैसी हो बहन? काम कर रहे हो नहीं कर रहे हो? कितना फोड़ रहे हो? कमेंट करके बताओ क्या कर रहे हो। एंड आई विल गो थ्रू योर कमेंट्स. आई एम सो ओवरवेल्म्ड विद ऑल द कमेंट्स. थैंक यू सो मच. आई विल ट्राई माई बेस्ट टू रिप्लाई टू ऑल योर कमेंट्स. बाकी बात करते हैं आज एआई के बारे में. तुमको पता होगा कि काफ़ी सारा हायरिंग हो रहा है अराउंड एआई. यू मस्ट हैव सीन मार्क जकरबर्ग poaching engineers from Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google and paying them millions of dollars to work in Meta's AI department. And ये सारी कंपनीज में हो रहा है. Everybody wants to hire top talent in AI. मतलब of course there's software engineers, but that is not enough now. सिर्फ सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग से काम नहीं बनेगा, तुम्हें आना चाहिए एआई. एंड नॉट जस्ट कि तुम यूज कर रहे हो, प्रॉम्प्ट कर रहे हो, चैट जीपीटी में प्रॉम्प्ट कर रहे हो, जेमिनी में प्रॉम्प्ट कर रहे हो. That is not enough. That is just prompting. Now, prompt engineering is a whole different genre. But I'm talking about how you can build AI. अब तक तुम AI यूज कर रहे हो, but जो तुम AI यूज कर रहे हो, इसे बनाते कैसे है? That role is an absolute demand. Now, you don't have to be in Silicon Valley to make millions of dollars by being an AI engineer or a researcher. Right here in India, in Bangalore, काफी सारे roles हैं, काफी सारे positions हैं that are pretty high paying. In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can acquire the skills so that you can call yourself an AI ML engineer. Let's go. तो शुरू करते हैं with phase 1. Now, phase 1 is going to be about your foundations. ठीक है? I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is where 80% of people actually go ahead and quit. Everybody wants to skip straight to building the next chat GPT. But if you don't build a solid foundation, your career ceiling will be incredibly low. You need to master two things. One is your tools, and the next thing is your logic. ये दो चीजें हैं जो काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसमें भी the first thing would be your programming and data. This is your tools. अब हमको पता है कि the programming language that is most widely used for AI is Python, right? But just knowing basic Python is not enough. You must understand the concepts of OOPS. OOPS क्या है? Object-oriented programming language. Because later on, every AI model will be a structured class, and AI is only as good as the data as it eats. Now, you will be spending at least 70% of your time just cleaning data. You must master the Python data stack. What is that? That would be your NumPy, your pandas, and your matplotlib. So I'll quickly tell you what is NumPy. So NumPy allows you to perform fast maths on a huge list of numbers. What is pandas? Think of this like an Excel, but on steroids, for loading and manipulating massive data sets. Matplotlib, it's like a tool that will help you visualize the data into graphs so you can easily understand it. Okay, ये हो गया. This is our, let us say, part 1 in phase 1. Next part would be your logic. So when I say logic, that is your maths. इसके अंदर 3 important चीजें आएंगे. One is your linear algebra. Next is your calculus. And इसके बाद में होगा probability and statistics. Why do we need linear algebra? You see, computers don't see images. They see grids of numbers. And you need to understand how a single number becomes a list, like a vector maybe, or maybe a grid, that is your matrix, and maybe a 3D cube, right? So why do we need calculus? When AI learns, it is trying to minimize its mistakes. Imagine being a blindfolded person on a mountain and stepping downwards to find the valley. That downward slope is a derivative. And the process of finding the bottom is called your gradient descent. So that's when it calculus. Probability and statistics. Now AI doesn't know things for a fact. It calculates the likelihood of things. So you need to understand normal distribution, Bayes theorem, which is how it actually updates its beliefs based on the new data. So once you know the language of Python and mathematics logic of how computer processes numbers, you are ready to start building simple predictive engines. That is, you have the tools. Now you need to learn to apply them. That brings us to our next phase. Let's call this phase 2. Phase 2. This is your core machine learning. This is where we stop explicitly writing rules like if X, then Y, and start teaching the machine to figure out the rules for itself based on some data. Now, for standard business problems like, let us say, maybe predicting house prices. Now, this is a very common problem, or something like a customer churn. This phase is actually faster and cheaper than modern AI. So we break this down into three main buckets. Okay, let's call our first bucket is going to be supervised learning. That is learning with an answer key. Now, this is when you have historical data that is already labeled. You can use algorithms like linear regression to predict a continuous number, like maybe a price, or logistic regression to categorize things like spam or not spam. And you will also learn decision trees. Decision trees, which is the absolute industry standard for making predictions on spreadsheet data. After this, we have something called as unsupervised learning. Isko nikalte hai. Right, so what is unsupervised learning? This is like finding hidden patterns. Here, the data does not have any labels. You hand the machine millions of customer records and ask it to find patterns. You use something called as k-means cluster to automatically group similar customers together. And we have something called as PCA, that is principal component analysis, to compress massive data sets down to their most important features. After that, we have your model evaluation. ये क्या होता है? This is your reality check. So accuracy. If AI will blindly guess that 1 in 100 disease is false every time, it means it is 99% accurate. But it is totally useless because it missed one sick person. Now you need to use proper terminology here, like master precision, recall, and how to read a confusion matrix to truly know if your model is working. And you can code all of this using a simple Python library called as scikit-learn. Now, traditional machine learning is very powerful for spreadsheets, structured numbers. But what happens when your data is not in a spreadsheet? What if your data is a 4K video, a 500-page book? So in this case, your traditional ML will actually hit a roadblock. There isn't much you can do with your traditional ML in this case. To break through that wall and process complex data, we have to borrow an idea from human biology. And that takes us to our phase 3. So phase 3 में क्या होता है? We learn about deep learning and the neural architecture. ठीक है? This is where we build artificial neural networks, which are very popularly known as ANNs. Now, these layers of artificial neurons are modeled after human brains. At the core, you need to actually understand the life cycle of a neural network. So data flows in something called as a forward propagation. So let's say your data flows, okay? The model makes a guess and it calculates how correct or how wrong. Right? Your model calculates how wrong it is. Now this is called as the loss function. And then it actually uses calculus to go backward through the network. This is called backpropagation to tweak its internal bias. So it makes a better guess next time. So if I just have to again quickly label this, this is your forward propagation, right? And it calculates how wrong it is. This is your loss function. These are all concepts. तुमको ठीक से सीखना है ये क्या है. And then we have something called as your backward propagation. And you have something called as weights and biases. So it makes a better guess. Now, once you know the core engine, you meet the specialized brains. By specialized brains, I mean to say your CNNs. Convolutional neural networks. These are your kings of computer vision. They use filters to scan images for edges and shapes. If you want to build, let's say, a self-driving car, you need CNNs. Next, we have something called as RNNs and LSTMs. ये क्या होता है? These are designed for sequential data where the order matters. Like maybe you want to translate audio to text. This is what you use. Next, we have transformer. This is your architecture that actually changed the world. It introduced a concept called self-attention, which will actually allow the model to look at an entire paragraph let's say for example, paragraph, at once and understand how every single word relates to others simultaneously. To build these, you will use a framework that is very popularly known as TensorFlow. For now, you'll use this. We also have PyTorch, right? This is like the industry standard. Transformers changed everything, but there's a catch. So when you're training a massive transformer model from scratch, you need supercomputers. And supercomputers need millions of dollars for computing. Most companies simply cannot afford that. So the industry pivoted. Instead of building the brain from scratch, think about it. What if we just borrowed a brain that, let's say, a big company like Google or Meta has already trained? That brings us to the next phase, your phase 4. Phase 4 is all about the generative AI era. That is your LLMs. So your job as an AI engineer is no longer just building models. Just building models? No. It is wielding massive pre-trained foundation models and integrating them into your software applications. First, you must understand the anatomy. LLMs, they don't read words. They actually, what they do is they chop words into small pieces called as tokens. You also need to understand the context window. I'm pretty sure you must have heard this term a lot. Context window. This is the AI's short-term memory. Okay. If you stuff too much into a prompt, the model will forget things. Next, you must know the ecosystem. You must know the ecosystem. You will use closed paid APIs like your OpenAI's GPT-4 or Gemini's Gemma, but true engineers who want to do things for free will actually go to Hugging Face. This is your open source hub for AI. You need to know to download open weight models such as Meta has something called as Llama 3. And you should be able to shrink them down and run them locally on your own hardware for total data privacy. Finally, we have something called as prompt engineering. In software development, prompting isn't just chatting. Think of it like programming, but with English. You need to master a few things in this as well. There is something called as few shot prompting. What does this mean? Giving the AI exact examples of what you want. There is something called as chain of thought. Forcing the model to process its logic step by step before answering, which will drastically reduce hallucinations. Next, you have structured output. Here you force the LLM to output its answer in a perfect machine-readable format called as JSON format. So your standard software backend can actually understand it. You now know how to talk to the smartest AI, but there is a small problem, maybe a massive problem. These models only know what they were trained upon to a certain date, certain time. There is no idea about the private database that your company updated this morning. An incredibly smart AI with amnesia is of no use to us. It's useless. To fix this, we have to give AI a dedicated memory and a set of hands. This is the final step. That is your phase 5. Phase 5. What does phase 5 do? Here we have the concept of vectors, DBs, RAG, and AI agents. Okay, so now we are in the final level. Phase 5 is all about moving from simple chat interfaces to autonomous production grade systems. This is the exact tech stack companies are paying top dollar for right now. We have something called as memory. So your embeddings and vector DBs. So how do you teach AI about your private company data? First, you will convert all the text documents into math coordinates. This is called your embeddings. If two sentences have similar meanings, their coordinates will be close together. You store millions of those coordinates into a special database called as your vector database, like Pinecone or ChromaDB. Next part is the knowledge. This is your RAG. What does RAG stand for? Retrieval Augmented Generation. Imagine taking a test from memory versus taking a test from an open book exam. RAG is actually the open book exam. When a user asks a question, your system quickly searches through the vector database that we have for the right documents. It will grab the text and stuff it into the LLM's prompt. It tells the AI, answer the user's question using only this exact document. That is how you completely eliminate AI hallucinations. AI hallucinates a lot. We all know that. So you want to avoid AI hallucinations. Next, we have the actual hands, which are nothing but your AI agents, autonomous AI agents. So instead of just answering questions, an AI is given tools using frameworks like maybe LangChain or Llama Index. You can actually build an AI that decides on its own to search in the web, write a Python script, calculate a result, email your boss autonomously. It plans, reasons, and executes. So when you build an agent that can browse your company's data via RAG, use tools, and deliver a result entirely on its own, you aren't just a software engineer anymore. You are an AI architect. So these are the things that you actually need to be aware of properly in detail, all the way from your phase 1 to your phase 5. Now that is what it takes for you to become an AI engineer. There's of course a lot more. There's a lot of things that are there in AI, but this is like the surface. Let's say you will scratch the surface by learning these things, and this is how you can get started. So if this video actually helped you, do comment and let me know. And if you're watching my video for the first time, do subscribe for more content like this. I will see you again in my next video. Bye-bye.